What is going on YouTube? But Great Blades here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Chris Reeve Small Inkosi. This one's the Insingo blade shape. Let's start with an overall measurement. Sorry, I'm a little sick here today. Allergies kind of going a little crazy today. So overall knife length, looking at just under 6.5 inches, about 6.4, 6.45. The blade length, we're looking at about 2.25, and then actual cutting edge, we're looking at just over 2.5, about 2.55, maybe 2.6. So it's definitely not a big knife. Do a measurement on the blade stock thickness here. So we're looking at about 120 thousandths, so reasonably thin, but not crazy. And then we'll do a measurement on the weight here. Sorry, one second. There we go. Measurement on the weight. So this one's going to be 2.75 ounces, so definitely not a heavy knife. It's not big, it's not heavy, it's not bad. We'll do a size comparison though with the my knives are all out of order here. Sorry, whoops. The Demco 20.5. This one with original goat scales on them. I'll link them down below. And then the QSP Penguin. So, size comparison, I'm a little bit over, more than I'd like to be. Size comparison, it's going to be smaller than the 20.5 by quite a bit. We are at a little bit of an angle, but it is quite a bit shorter than the 20.5, and then it's even smaller still than the QSP Penguin, which I do consider a small knife, but excuse me. The Small Inkosi is definitely a teeny tiny knife. The thing is tiny. Oops. Do a comparison on the overall thickness here. So compared to the 20.5, it is quite a bit thinner than the 20.5. And then compared to the QSP Penguin, it is a little bit thinner than even that. So yeah, it's really not going to be a hard knife to carry. It's light, it's not particularly big in any dimension, so it's not going to be difficult to carry. You probably won't really even feel it, to be honest. Excuse me. So on this one in particular, this one was sent to me by a friend, but this one in particular, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Sorry about that. What was I saying? This was sent to me by a friend, just on loan for the video here, just to kind of check out and look at, this one is a user, so, he said, feel free, go ahead, but, sorry, what was I saying? I'm so sorry, guys. Titanium with canvas micarta inlays on this one in particular. Titanium canvas micarta S35 on the blade steel here, I believe. Yeah, S35 here. S35 at 60 to 62. This one is the Insingo. Has the natural canvas micarta inlay, and it was August 2022 for the birth date. So this one is a frame lock, of course. Or Chris Reeve integral lock, as they're actually known as, but it's a frame lock. Yeah, so I mean, most people I think that are in the knife enthusiast side of things, or knife collector side of things, definitely know about Chris Reeve knives. I mean, it would be hard not to. They're pretty legendary. I mean, Chris Reeve literally invented the frame lock, the Chris Reeve integral lock, as it's actually known, though. But yeah, they did literally invent that. So pretty big name. USA made. They're made in if I can zoom in here just a little bit. They're made in Idaho, so that's pretty cool. They're all made in-house. They're not made in like super huge batches, but they're usually around. Maybe not necessarily the one that you want exactly, but they're usually kicking around a little bit. So it does have a what was I gonna say? Titanium clip. The clip's okay. It's alright. I mean, retention on it is pretty good, but it's not exactly the easiest knife to put in your pants. One-handed anyways. Like put it back in your pants. Usually both because of the clip and the kind of small overall size of the knife, it makes it a little bit difficult, but I mean, it's not terrible. It's alright, it's fine. It's just a little annoying. It does have some jimping on the back of the spine here, which is pretty nice. Goes out a pretty reasonable length there. The rest of the spine is actually slightly crowned, which I think is pretty nice. Just aesthetically, it looks cool. It does have thumb studs. Most people probably know, but if you don't, so Chris Reeve knives, they're made very well, but they're not really like, they're good work knives, but they're not like the, they don't have like that fidget factor that some, I say some, but a lot, and me in particular especially, like the fidget factor that some knives have. So like the action is good, there's no grittiness, it's smooth, it's consistent all the way through, but you're not flicking this open, you're just kind of using the thumb stud to wheel it open. I mean, you could definitely give it a shot, but with these thumb studs in particular, and with the small one, you just don't really have the room. You can't really reverse flick it because of the position that the backside thumb stud is on. There's just enough room, and it's just scalloped enough for you to get in there and get to the thumb stud. But the way that they're shaped, they're like these little, if I can zoom in just a little bit, they're these kind of cone shapes, and they're like super smooth. So truthfully, I kind of hate them, if I'm honest, because they don't give you, like, you can obviously use them to open the knife, but they don't give you like enough grip. Like a couple of times when I've opened or tried to open this, I've slipped off the thumb stud because it is so smooth. Like it doesn't hurt your finger, which I guess is cool, but it's too smooth. It's Like they don't have the Goldilocks zone, you know, where like it gives you enough grip to hold on to the thumb stud and then you can deploy it nicely. Because sometimes I do slip off of these because they are just machined too smooth, which is a strange thing to say, but yeah, they're just too smooth. So I think I'm not really a big fan of the machining that's done on them. I wish they were just a little bit grippier. But you know, they look nice. They're nice satin polish on them. But functionally speaking, I just wish they were a little bit grippier. Yeah, there's, you know, it's scalloped enough on the access to the lock bar, so you know you can get in there no problem. And I will say though, like, I have small hands, but this is a very, very small knife. Like, this thing is tiny, even by my standards. And so, like, sometimes you just gotta be really careful that you're not putting any pressure on the lock bar here. That way, when you're trying to open it, you know, you're not pushing on that, because it is pretty easy, you know, and it will not open if you push on that. So, you know, just be careful where your fingers are, you know, when you're opening it. I try to only keep, you know, a couple on here, something like this, and then, you know, I'll just use my thumb to pop it open a little bit, and then just wheel it around. But I haven't really had an issue with that. But, you know, if you're newer to knives or if you have big hands, then definitely don't get the small one. If you've got the big hands, that'll be pretty difficult to do. But if you're newer, you know, just be careful. Be cognizant of where your hands are, or sorry, your fingers are when you're opening the knife. I think these run on bushings, or sorry, not bushings. Washers. They do run on washers, but they're, like I said, like the Action Smooth, crazy smooth, you know, no grittiness whatsoever when it's being opened, but it just doesn't, it's not made to have, you know, that fidgety, you know, kind of just flip open action. But, you know, some people like that, some people don't. So this one in particular, I think, was about $575 with the one with the inlay. They do also make plain Jane ones with just smooth titanium. I think those ones run about $525, maybe $500. Kind of just depends. They also make left-handed specific models, so if you're a lefty, you do have that, which is nice. Chris Reeve is always really good about making left-handed models for their knives, which I think is really cool, especially because, you know, they are a USA-made company, so excuse me, I'm so sorry. So, you know, it is more expensive to make and manufacture things here, but they still do make left-handed models, even knowing that, which I think is cool. What else was I going to say? Oh, the blade shape is the Insingo blade shape. I think I had mentioned that a little bit, but I didn't really talk about it. It is hollow ground. Actually, is it hollow ground? I might have to double check that. It feels hollow, but maybe it's just a really thin flat. I'm not sure. No, I think it's hollow. I'll double check that though, but it's that kind of grind, and the Insingo blade shape, which is just kind of like a modified Wharncliffe, to be honest. It's a little bit different, but it's essentially a Wharncliffe. It's got a little bit of a belly on it. There's like a swedge on the tip there, so it starts from like a little bit thicker blade stock, and then it goes down to a thinner blade behind the edge here. But it does have a little bit of a nice polish on the sharpened edge there. I'm not sure if that's the stock factory finish, or if maybe the gentleman I borrowed this from, or had this on loan from, I should say, if he touched up the edge and that was him. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else more to say about this, to be honest. This one leaves me a little conflicted, to be honest. I think the small is too small. So I don't want to say that I don't like the knife, because that's not necessarily true. There are some aspects I don't like about it. Really, the main thing is just the thumb studs. To be honest, ignoring the clip, ignoring the size, ignoring the different kind of action that I prefer. Even ignoring that, though, I just wish that the thumb studs were a little bit different. Everything else is great. It's made well. It's perfectly centered. It's made in the USA. I think the price isn't terrible. But even regardless of those, I just wish they had different thumb studs on them. That's kind of my biggest gripe here. Well, I think that's going to be pretty much it, though. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the Inkosi? Specifically, this one is the Small Inkosi. But I guess, just let me know what you think about the Inkosi and Chris Reeve knives in general. Yeah. That's going to be it. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.